So I'm going to talk through some of the aspects that maybe we should try and pull that picture as much as possible.
The computer. Move the computer over. It's blocking the screen.
Thank you. This is part of the ideation phase, right? Where we're trying to help fellows go from their big picture or inspirational idea, some knowledge about the market because they've done an environmental scan, into the operationalization of their vision, of their solution. Should I move?
You can also move the.
Is that meeting over now? Isn't there anything? I'm gonna keep it. Let's close it. Right? What you can kind of expect from fellows at this point in the game is still a certain amount, I think, of confusion, of feeling a certain amount of gravity towards the idea that they started with, but hopefully they're less stuck in that idea and they're more willing to consider other things. At the same time, we're in a very important phase of you, dear fellows, career here, of your venture launch, of your startup, right? You're now about to begin planning an actual business plan, business logic. We just heard from one of our SocialStart trainers, Jenny Roberts and Laura Silver, who talked about creating a logic model, a social business model, which is what you've all been working on with the coaches, doing as your deliverable. What we now want to make sure that you're taking into account is that even as you concretize a model, ultimately a business model is nothing but a plan, an assumption, an attempt to drive in a particular direction. But we all know that the only way to really be successful is to innovate, right? And is to be flexible. And that's what this whole presentation is actually about, right? We're talking about strategic flexibility in the operationalization of your venture. So we're now going to give you a set of tools, a set of concepts, some theories, and things you can use practically to always ensure that you are trying to be as flexible and as aware as possible of what might be coming, what might be a challenge, what might be an opportunity, strengths, weaknesses, and really be adjusting your venture as a fellow. You're an entrepreneur. You're about to go out there and lead a whole group of people to realize something that you think is important. You need to have your feelers up. You have to have your radar up. You have to be constantly listening to the wind and figuring out how you need to be moving in order to be successful. Some of you here have done ventures beforehand, right? You had a business at some point, right, called Modern Tribe, right? I'm sure it took a lot of innovation to get that off, right? All right, and let's even get a little bit more general market here, right? One of my favorite songs is a song from the '80s that I at first hated because I thought it sounded awful, but at some point more recently I've come back to it as kind of a very wise song. Can anyone guess what I'm thinking about? It talks about evolution in product. The first video that MTV ever showed in America. What? Video killed the radio star.
Something about killing the radio.
Right? Who can sing it for me? Right? That was that. Video killed the radio star. We could now write. What song can we write now? What's killing what?
Internet
killed
everything else.
Right? Internet was that weed that just grew. Right? But digital has killed the film. Right? Digital kills newspaper. Right?
SMS kills email.
SMS kills email. Facebook might kill Google. I mean, who knows what's going to kill what? But the point of the matter is that all throughout, MySpace killed Friendster, Facebook killed MySpace, right? We see that there are often there are products that come in and are strong and then they get killed, and then there are products that actually don't, and they keep going, right? What has killed Coke? Pepsi's tried. So have health conscious people. Nothing's been able to kill Coke. Somehow Coke has managed to innovate throughout the ages and remain a strong product that is on our shelves and in our refrigerators and so on and so forth. Right? It owns the whole city, Atlanta. Right? And so the question is, how do we, as a startup, ensure that we are building enough flexibility into what we do that we can essentially watch out for our obstacles, pitfalls, and whatnot. And so this is a tools-based seminar, right? In every unit, we give theory, we give tools, and then we give digital tools, right, Shelby? That's the lineup. Kind of the theory, the pragmatics, and then some digital tools and things that can be useful. And so we talked about recently, right, about this whole concept of outcomes, right? The point is to get where you want to go, right? Most of us get where we want to go by actually driving, or some of us take the train because we live in cities, but for those of us who come from the suburbs, we drive places. Think about the experience of driving. Can anyone here tell me about what happens when you drive? Imagine like a typical day driving in Chicago, Avi. When you wake up in the morning, what do you, right before you're about to step out to the car, what do you do?
Well, I'm late, so I'm running trying to get my kids into the car to drop them off to school. So I grab my keys, throw my backpack and passenger seat.
Okay, you turn on the engine. Then what?
Open the garage, back up, let's put on the gas.
You drive.
Yeah.
What might happen? What are potential things that could happen on the way to your destination?
You know, there's snow and ice, so you have to go slower. There could be an accident, or you get pulled over.
Right. Traffic jam. Maybe a garbage can blew into your driveway, and so you have to actually get out of your car and move it before you can back out.
Sure.
All sorts of things can happen when you get to where you want to on the way to getting to where you want to go. So in a certain way, we can say, oh, Avi drives to work every morning. Looked at it in another way, Avi goes through a very complex process every morning to figure out how he's going to innovate sufficiently to get to work alive, on time, or not as late as he could get there. And there's this kind of constant sense of him reassessing and evaluating and testing things out. If Avi sees that, that rain is coming, he turns on his windshield wipers. If Avi planned beforehand and maybe assess potential scenarios the night before, he would know that maybe he has to leave 10 minutes early to get to work on time, right? There's this kind of constant sense, and that's the way that we want to treat our ventures, right? The way that we want to treat our ventures is to build in enough ways and enough tools that we can constantly be assessing and adjusting so that we're able to react to the rainstorms and the snowstorms and the potential, crazy drivers out there, and so on and so forth. All right, and the point again of this seminar and where we're at right now is to help you guys as entrepreneurs build in tools to your process that will give you that leg up and that edge in getting where you need to go. Okay, and so one of the first tools we're going to talk about of the two tools that we're going to focus on today is called the SWOT analysis. There are other versions of this. Some of you who've been to business school might have seen them. I think one's like a SCOT analysis and any others, Ben? No? Dan's our management guru, in-house guy. What else? Most use SWOT. Okay, so we're going to use the SWOT analysis. Anyone here is anyone here familiar with the SWOT? Great. Why don't we go to Andrea? Tell us about the SWOT. What is it? When is it used? What do these things mean that are on the board?
That are on the board?
Yeah. Just talk to us about the SWOT.
I mean, in another way, it's sort of like, again, assessing of your environment and really sort of understanding the environment in which you're operating and understanding what your own product in relation to that environment.
Okay. Anyone else want to fill that out? No, you're on our staff, so I don't do that. Use the SocialStart.
Looking at what you can control in relation to what you can't.
Okay, what you can control in relation to what you can. Very good. Yes.
It's really planning for the unexpected. Like once you look at, okay, this is what I'm good at, can help you accentuate the positive.
Okay, so it helps you identify what's strong, what's weak, and then invest. Yeah.
It diagrams what you need to be flexible.
Okay, so it gives a diagram for the flexible. Okay, so there are a lot of very good things said here. We had from Andrea, I think, and from Ari and from Laura, some of the general uses of it and what it's valuable for, and then Lily talked about the internal and the external, right? To use this tool effectively, we want to understand it. So what is a strength? What Laura said, right? Something that you are particularly good at in relation to maybe your competitors and others out there, right? What are you good at, Ari, in relation to every other technical entrepreneur out there in the field? What's your strength?
My strength is, I guess, seeing like the big picture and understanding like the impact of what you're working on versus what you come out with.
Okay, so Ari can get up to a high altitude and kind of see where things are moving and make sure he's hacking in the jungle toward the way he wants to go and not just hacking through the jungle, right? Anyone else? What are you strong at? Andrew, what's your venture strong at that really makes it a standout?
My venture focuses on strengthening the internal capacities that professionals bring to the table in the work environment.
Okay, so as opposed to many others, you've got this particular strength in the internal. Okay, weaknesses. What are you weak at? Laura, in your venture?
Organization.
What?
Organization.
Organized, being organized. All right, that's a weakness that you identified. Okay, now note, and you guys have correctly identified all these things, as Lily had said, as internal. And this is an important point in the SWOT analysis. Above the line, right, north of this demarcation line, are internal elements. Strengths and weaknesses you can control. You can get stronger at something. You can take a weakness, identify it, and turn it into a strength. All right, and everything that you guys said, I think, is fits that. The bottom side, right, the below the line is the external factors, all right, which are the opportunities and threats. So let's go back and let's ask, what are some opportunities for your venture, your social venture, Dan?
I'm drawing the blank right now.
That's all right. The rising complexity of the digital, just navigating all these different new tools out there, make it very confusing for nonprofits to figure out what to do. So if Dan was doing a venture that was, in a space of helping nonprofits raise money, that might be an opportunity to them, right? A threat. What would be a threat? And you can jump in if you have a, I feel like you know this stuff very well. So this is a strong example on an opportunity or threat. Jump in. What's a threat?
A threat could be that my competition adapts to what I've brought to the market, my strengths, and then takes away my differentiator.
Okay, so a threat could be that just there's a certain amount of general wisdom, and people are learning very quickly in the market. Some of the tools that Jenny had developed are not necessarily her own anymore, and that's just the evolution of time, right? What's another example of a strong threat? Take any business. What would be a threat to what? Copy of products, that's going to happen, or
Withdrawal of capital.
withdrawal of capital. Okay, the recession. Someone's got a really good business, but the world economic market's crashing. Outside things, external things. Weather could be a threat, right? We are running a wedding. My venture to marry my spouse, right? Well, the rain is a threat. I can't control it, right? Strengths and weaknesses I can control. The threats I can't control. All right, so what we want to give, any other examples? Anyone have anything on the top of their head? Better definitions?
I think when you talk about threats, what you're really talking about are things that you need contingencies for.
Okay, good. But guys, this is very important. Here's an actual definitions you can use.
So for threats are things you want to have contingencies for, and a common refinement of this kind of thing is to rank the threats. So, there might be 26 things you can come up with that are a danger to your business, but there's probably one or two that are like real showstoppers and actually likely to happen, and a whole bunch that are either very unlikely or not really all that dangerous.
Okay, so we're going to get to a tool that will help you guys as entrepreneurs plan a little bit for some of these threats. But as a tool, fellows, what you guys want to be thinking about constantly or at a regularly defined intervals is to sit down, take stock of where you're at, and implement a SWOT analysis. All right, and let's get a little more specific in the internal. Okay, we want to give you a tool to effectively think, or to kind of take the internal work that you do when you list out what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, and think about how you can actually plan in a way that will, in a sense, head off some of the weaknesses and help you reinvest in your strengths and help you build that out. The reason that we're saying this is that ultimately, you guys are building out social ventures that are predicated on other people being willing to invest their time, energy, and resources in what you're doing. Okay, if you cannot mobilize the community members you want to be volunteers at your programs, if you can't mobilize others to come in and teach and train and do whatever you need them to do, you will not be successful. If you can't mobilize funders to invest in you, you're not going to be successful. So what you guys need to think about is, how do you be sure to engage those people over the lifetime of your program, and how can you modulate your strengths and your weaknesses in a way that it works, all right? And so part of the challenge of the seminar is to give you guys a tool, or what we want to do here is to give you guys a tool that will lay out, that will give you a way to plan out what people experience when they interact with your organization, all right? And in that sense, it can help you head off some of the potential problems that would be created by your weaknesses. And specifically, the tool that we use at Present Tense and that we teach is to train you guys on how to do storyboards. Has anyone here done a storyboard? What is a storyboard usually used for? Yes, Laura.
It's to track a narrative and look how it's going to be developed, look at the key parts of it.
Okay. Anyone else? Where is it used? It's used in movies. Why do they use it in movies?
Help them